This type of encounter is, honestly, pretty consistent with numerous reports from 2025, where Russian Il-20 reconnaissance aircraft were frequently intercepted by NATO fighters over the Baltic Sea. At 8:47 local time over the grey waters of the Baltic Sea, a Russian Ilyushin Il-20 reconnaissance aircraft cruised steadily toward the edge of Polish airspace, its internal recorders capturing every electromagnetic signal in the atmosphere. The crew aboard this converted airliner had flown this exact profile dozens of times before. To them, it was just another routine probe of NATO defenses designed to map radar emissions and response times. What the Russian mission commander did not know was that they had already triggered a response chain Moscow was completely unprepared to handle. The Scramble order hit the Polish air defense sector at 8:49. Within 60 seconds, 2 MiG-29 fighters were rolling down the runway, their afterburners glowing like blowtorches as they punched through 400 knots before the landing gear doors had even finished cycling shut. These were not the Soviet-era relics Russian intelligence remembered from the Cold War. These particular airframes had been stripped and rebuilt with Israeli avionics and American weaponry, a Western brain inside a Soviet body. Exactly 9 minutes later, the Russian crew would discover that their billion-dollar intelligence operation was flying straight into a technological trap they could not see, outrun, or even understand. The Il-20 was 140 kilometers out, lumbering along at a leisurely 350 knots, completely unaware that the closure rate between it and the interceptors was approaching 1,000 knots. At that speed, the merge would happen in under 9 minutes, leaving the Russian crew a terrifyingly small window to detect, identify, and attempt to evade. They stayed on course, sensors pointed toward Polish airspace, flying with the confidence of predators who believed they were alone in the sky. 7 minutes remained, then 6. The spy plane's electronic intelligence systems busily catalogued every radar emission they could find, oblivious to the fact that 2 fighters were screaming toward them with throttles firewalled. The MiG-29s climbed through 15,000 feet, their fuel gauges dropping visibly as the massive engines guzzled kerosene. At full afterburner, the Klimov RD-33 engines consumed fuel at a staggering 180 kilograms per minute. The pilots knew they had perhaps 11 minutes of high-performance combat endurance before they would have to break off or risk flaming out over the freezing Baltic. But, 11 minutes was more than enough for what came next. The response time demonstrated by the Polish pilots would be honestly, physically impossible in most modern Western fighters. The Soviet-designed RD-33 engines have this engineering quirk that makes them absolutely terrifying in a scramble. They can spool from idle to full afterburner in just 2 seconds flat, while most commercial and Western military turbofans take up to 8 seconds to reach maximum thrust. The difference really comes down to bypass ratio. A typical commercial turbofan runs around 5:1. That's 5 parts of cold air bypassing the core for each part passing through the combustor, making it quiet and efficient, but, sluggish to respond. The MiG's low bypass engine is almost the opposite. When the pilot slams the throttle forward, the thrust arrives almost immediately. Soviet engineers designed it that way because they expected to fight NATO from bombed-out airfields, where getting airborne instantly could mean survival. It was, honestly, a brilliant piece of engineering for a nation preparing to defend its own territory. In a cruel twist of irony, that same engineering was now being used to hunt them down. By 8:53, the MiG's radar had painted the spy plane clearly. Pulse Doppler processing filtered out sea clutter by measuring relative velocity. The waves sat effectively still, aircraft did not. The Il-20 popped out of the noise at a range of 80 kilometers. The original Soviet radar could barely track a single target while scanning, but the Israeli upgraded signal processing could now manage 10 simultaneous tracks. while building firing solutions on priority threats. Target classification was automatic. The onboard computer identified aircraft type from radar cross-section and flight profile. On the pilot's multifunction display, blue symbols marked friendly forces and red marked hostiles, all updated via a Link 16 data connection fed by every NATO sensor in the theater. At 60 kilometers with 5 minutes to visual contact, the spy plane still had not turned to run. In truth, escape was already impossible. Under the wings of the Polish fighters hung AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles, American weapons that had taken serious engineering wizardry to mount on Soviet pylons. Israel Aerospace Industries had installed new ejector racks, threaded NATO standard wiring through the old wings, and completely rewritten the fire control software to translate Soviet radar formats into the digital language the American missile expected. The AMRAAM made fire and forget a terrifying reality. After launch, its inertial navigation system steered it toward a predicted intercept point, while encrypted data link updates refined the trajectory mid-flight. The launch aircraft could turn away immediately. The missile no longer required the fighter's nose to stay pointed at the target. At around 10 miles, the missile's own active radar came alive and took over. If the target tried to jam it, the seeker could switch to home-on jam mode, steering toward the source of interference. Any attempt to blind the weapon simply turned the target into a brighter beacon. At 40 kilometers, the geometry was already hopeless. The IL-20 was essentially a converted airliner with no ejection seats, a very expensive coffin with wings if things went wrong. But this was not quite a shooting war. Not yet. The Polish flight lead eased back on the throttle, letting the engines sag from afterburner to military power as he closed the final distance. By 9/11, he was close enough for visual identification. The distinctive high-wing silhouette, 4 turboprops turning against the sky, and the massive sensor pod under the nose were unmistakable. Russia's electronic intelligence workhorse. Inside, the SRS-4 ELINT system did exactly what it was designed to do, cataloging every emission it detected.
Join Intel Prime Channel membership today and get access to exclusive benefits, including early access to new videos, exclusive discounts on Intel products, behind-the-scenes content, live chat with me and other members. Other options will be soon available. Thank you for your support and for helping Intel Prime grow.